What happens if this changes everything? What if this moment becomes the beginning of something much bigger? A storyline that completely rewrites the DNA of General Hospital. Guys, I don't think we're paying attention to what comes next. We are all so focused on the immediate drama, the day-to-day squabbles, and the obvious conflicts that we are completely missing the massive, terrifying undercurrent pulling our characters out to sea. We are looking at a man who is supposed to be broken, a man who is paralyzed and left at the mercy of his enemies. But what if the victim is actually the apex predator? What if the wheelchair, the slow recovery, and the perceived weakness are nothing more than a brilliantly constructed facade designed to lure his enemies into a false sense of security? We have to ask ourselves what happens when a tactical genius decides to stop playing by the rules and starts playing for keeps. The future of Port Charles is hanging by a thread, and the scissors are in the hands of someone nobody suspects. Right now, the board is set in a way that feels deceptively simple, but it is actually a powder keg waiting for a map. We know that Drew Kane has been slowly regaining his mobility after the paralyzing doses administered by Willow Kane. Kai Taylor has already noticed the signs, and Willow is in a state of absolute sheer panic, desperately trying to find a way to silence Drew before he can expose her. In her desperation, Willow has enlisted the help of Nina Reeves, urging her to use her growing connection with Jack Brennan to secure blackmail material against Drew. Nina, fiercely protective of her daughter and always prone to acting on raw emotion, is hovering around Drew, ready to strike. The tension is thick, especially around the Quartermain boathouse and pool, where Drew seems to be spending his time. Everyone thinks Drew is vulnerable. Everyone thinks he is a sitting duck. But that is exactly where the pieces are right now. Perfectly positioned for a master manipulator to sweep the board clean. This could lead to our very first highly explosive future scenario. Let us talk about Drew's sudden shift in demeanor. If you have been watching closely, Drew has been taunting Nina. He is pushing her buttons, mocking her, and deliberately provoking her. A man who is truly helpless does not poke a sleeping bear unless he has a loaded shotgun hidden behind his back. I believe Drew has already fully recovered his physical strength and mobility, but he is keeping it an absolute secret. He is using his perceived weakness as the ultimate bait. The first future sees Drew orchestrating a chillingly calculated trap right at the edge of the Quartermain pool. He knows Nina's psychological profile perfectly. He knows she is volatile, emotionally driven, and fiercely protective of Willow. He wants her to lose her temper. He wants her to attack him. Most people assume Nina will just push him into the water thinking he cannot swim or defend himself. But what if Drew is 10 steps ahead? What if Drew has prepared a fast-acting, undetectable chemical agent, perhaps a localized paralytic or a severe hallucinogen, that he slips into Nina's drink or even applies via a transdermal patch during a staged scuffle? If that happens, the scene plays out like a horror movie. Nina lunges at Drew, her anger boiling over. But right at that moment, the drug takes effect. Her vision swims, her muscles betray her, and her equilibrium shatters. Instead of pushing Drew, Nina stumbles, loses her footing, and plummets into the deep end of the pool. Drew does not even have to lay a finger on her to push her. He just lets gravity and chemistry do his dirty work. As Nina struggles in the water, unable to swim because of the drug, the entire narrative flips. If she drowns, or nearly drowns, it looks entirely like a tragic accident. An emotionally unstable woman lost her balance and fell. Drew, the paralyzed victim, can simply claim he was helpless to save her. Who benefits here? Drew benefits massively. He eliminates one of Willow's strongest allies and does it without leaving a single fingerprint. Who is in danger? Nina, obviously, fighting for her life in the water, but the bigger consequence may be the sheer terror this strikes into Willow's heart. But we have to look deeper, because there is a second future that takes this exact same setup and twists it into something far more sinister. What if Nina falling into the pool is not just about eliminating Nina? What if it is a meticulously crafted setup to frame Willow Kane for attempted murder? We know Drew wants revenge on Willow above all else. If you ask me, using Nina as collateral damage to destroy Willow is exactly the kind of cold, tactical, military thinking Drew is capable of. In this scenario, Drew manipulates the environment so that Willow is present, or at least her presence is heavily implied by fabricated evidence. Imagine Drew sending a text from Nina's phone to Willow, luring her to the boathouse at the exact moment Nina falls into the water. The story could be heading toward a devastating legal nightmare. Willow arrives just in time to see her mother sinking to the bottom of the pool. She panics, maybe she tries to help, or maybe she freezes in shock, but the optics are terrible. Drew, playing the helpless victim, tells the authorities, perhaps even Harrison Chase, who is already investigating Willow for the hit and run, that Willow and Nina got into a vicious argument and Willow pushed her own mother. Given Willow's recent erratic behavior, her staging of the fountain attack with Tracy, and the fake GPS evidence already painting her as a criminal, the police would absolutely buy it. The brilliant part of this future is that Drew does not just defeat Willow, he uses the justice system to lock her away. He turns Willow into the monster she always feared becoming. This path completely changes the entire dynamic of Port Charles. Willow goes to prison, Michael is left reeling, and Drew emerges as the tragic survivor who bravely testified against his attacker. It is a game changer of epic proportion. And yet, there is a third future. This is the wild card, the unexpected trajectory that very few people are considering right now, but it is the one that sends shivers down my spine. What if Drew's ultimate goal is not murder, and it is not prison? What if Drew wants complete and total erasure? Death is too easy. Prison is a place you can appeal from. Drew wants to erase Willow from Port Charles, from her children's lives, and from her own sanity. In this third future, the pool incident with Nina is just the opening salvo in a massive psychological warfare campaign. When Willow realizes that Drew orchestrated Nina's accident, she will try to warn everyone. She will tell Michael. She will tell Chase. She will scream from the rooftops that Drew is fully healed and is a dangerous predator. But here is the terrifying twist. Drew has already laid the groundwork to make Willow look completely insane. He will ensure that every time Willow tries to prove he is healed, he has an alibi or medical records, perhaps forged with the help of a dark ally, proving he is still paralyzed. He will gaslight her so severely that she begins to doubt her own reality. The bigger consequence may be that Drew pushes Willow into a corner where her only option is to flee. He could plant evidence suggesting Willow is a danger to her own children, drawing chilling parallels to her biological mother, Nell Benson. Faced with the prospect of losing her kids to the state or being locked in a psychiatric facility like Ferncliff, Willow might be forced to fake her own death or go on the run forever. Drew does not just beat her, he erases her very existence from the town, leaving him to step in as the benevolent uncle to her children. It is a dark, twisted, and profoundly compelling narrative path. If you ask me, guys, I keep coming back to the idea that the first and third futures are going to blend together. The path that feels most likely, the one that truly respects the intelligence of the writers and the evolution of Drew Kane, is the psychological destruction of Willow Kane, beginning with the physical destruction of Nina Reeve. I strongly believe Drew has fully recovered. I believe his taunting of Nina is a calculated military maneuver designed to draw enemy fire on his own. When you look at how Drew has been operating since his return from WSB captivity, he is no longer the Boy Scout. He is a tactician. The idea of him drugging Nina so she causes her own downfall is brilliant because it provides him with absolute plausible deniability. And the fact that Willow will be the only one to realize the truth, the only one to see the monster hiding behind the wheelchair, makes for incredible television. It isolates Willow. It makes her desperate. And a desperate Willow is exactly what Drew needs to justify his final crushing blow. Looking ahead, we have to ask, if that happens, what is the next shockwave? If Drew successfully neutralizes Nina and completely erases Willow from Port Charles, the future of General Hospital opens up in terrifying new ways. Drew Kane will have successfully pulled off the perfect crime, and that kind of absolute power changes a man. What happens next may be the birth of Port Charles's greatest new villain. With Willow gone, Drew could easily manipulate his way into full control of ELQ. He could systematically dismantle Michael Corinthos' life next, punishing him for his blind loyalty to Willow. Furthermore, how will Jason Morgan react when he eventually uncovers the truth? Jason is stepping away from the mob to focus on Danny, but a rogue, villainous Drew Kane might be the one thing that pulls Jason back into the darknet. We are looking at a future where Drew operates in plain sight, a beloved hero to the public, but a ruthless, untouchable mastermind in the shadows. The battle lines will be completely redrawn. The Corinthos family, the Quartermains, and the WSB will all eventually find themselves in the crosshairs of a man who learned the hard way that playing nice gets you paralyzed, but playing dirty gets you everything. This is not just a revenge story anymore, guys. This is the origin story of a kingpin. And I, for one, cannot wait to see how this brilliant, deadly game of chess unfolds. The board is set, the trap is laid, and the future of Port Charles will never be the same.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.